Week 12 in college football. We got us some upsets, and if you are a Unafraid Show, George Wrighster's college football podcast listener, regular listener, you knew the answers to the test already. You knew the answers to the test because I gave them to you already. I told you exactly what was going to happen. I could not have been any more um, adamant about what was going to happen when it came to Georgia and Texas, and also what was going to happen when it came to Alabama and Oklahoma. I gave you the answers to the test early, people. I gave them to you. There's no reason to fail the test. If you failed the test, it is because you were unprepared or you did not believe that it was a real thing. And so we are going to start with the game of the day. That was actually, first of all, let's talk about this college football playoff for a second. Because the college football playoff, which is going to feature a lot of SEC teams, things got a little messier today. And it could have even gotten even more crazy had Texas A&M not pulled off the biggest comeback in SEC since at least 2005. Since 2005, SEC teams they were 0 and 286 or 268 in games that they were down by 27 points or more. And you know what ended up happening? Shane Beamer and South Carolina found a way. They found a way to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. It was actually insane how bad that this was. This was a awful situation when it came to Texas A&M. So let's start with that game, because I have been telling you guys for the entire season that Texas Tech that they are a good football team, but that this is not a national championship caliber team. And you guys make sure that you hop in the comments, like, subscribe, get notifications, tell a friend about the show. That this is not a national championship caliber team. There's a lot of people that talk about Ohio State. Who is Ohio State played? Who is Oregon played? Well, who has Texas A&M played outside of Notre Dame? They played Auburn, bad SEC team. Mississippi State, bad SEC team. Florida, bad SEC team. Alabama, bad SEC team. Oh, Arkansas, bad SEC team. LSU, oh, another bad team. Missouri, another unranked, middle of the road / bottom SEC team. South Carolina, oh, bad SEC team. When are they going to play one of the upper echelon SEC teams? They don't. And if they were in a situation where they were in the Big Ten or the ACC or the Big 12, everybody would be asking, who did Texas A&M play? Well, Texas A&M has not played any of those good teams. They have not played any upper echelon SEC teams. But we're supposed to believe the outrage of Lane Kiffin and anybody else talking about that this is the number one team in the nation. I have given everybody the blueprint for how you beat Texas A&M. Number one, you have to stop the run, which is not the easiest task in the whole wide world. But you have to stop the run, and then you have to make Marcel Reed throw the ball from the pocket. And you might be saying to me, George, well, he threw for 439 yards today, 3 touchdowns. He also threw 5 picks. They dropped 3 of them. If you can keep him off schedule, he will throw you the football. If this running game does not get going for South Carolina, Marcel Reed, you squeeze him in the pocket. Don't let him just run around, because that's what he wants to do when things get uncomfortable. You will beat them. And South Carolina, this was, I keep hearing Lenora Sellers, first round pick. The only place Lenora Sellers needs to be going is back to school. He is Anthony Richardson 2.0 at this point in time. He needs more starts. He needs more experience. And if I'm South Carolina, if I do keep Shane Beamer, because they're 3-7 right now, 1-7 in the SEC. If I do keep Shane Beamer, he got to go hire me a new quarterback coach. He already fired the offensive coordinator. I need a quarterback developer to help this young kid out, because right now there's nothing about him that says NFL. Nothing at all. So at no point in time can you love what you've seen out of that. And that's exactly what South Carolina did. 29 rushes for Texas A&M, 64 yards. They shut them absolutely down. And I knew. So it was 30-3 at halftime. And I knew at that point in time, I said, if Texas A&M comes out and scores and gets it 30-10, this game's over. You're like, George, they were up 20 points. When Texas A&M came out and scored and it got 30-10, it felt like South Carolina was down by 2 touchdowns. I thought Texas A&M might mess around and end up covering the point spread at that point in time. It was ugly. And this is one of the biggest collapses in recent SEC history. This was absolutely awful. But I did want to bring up what happened with the police officer or the sheriff or whatever, law enforcement agency when Nicholas Harbor scored the touchdown. Number one, here's the part I'm not mad about. I'm not mad because this is college football, and college football fans are absolutely bat-ish crazy. That part I don't mind, because you're like, okay, this is par for the course for college football fans. But then I'm like, yep, there is no way that you can allow a law enforcement official to intentionally bump players during a game because he's too invested in the football game. That don't work. And before the game was over, they tweeted out that he had been relieved of his duties, as he should be. As he should be. There should probably be a suspension here, if we're really being honest. I'm not going to call for the man's job fully because he's a crazy college football fan, but that looked like a guy, because he turned around and confronted the players too after bumping into multiple players. I was like, this is the kind of dude that, I wonder, it made me wonder what kinds of things that he does on the job, if I'm being honest. I was like, is this the type of law enforcement officer that we really, really want? That's really what I thought. Because if he's willing to confront players like that, yeah, I don't know about that. But let's get to talking about these college football rankings, right? These college football rankings. Because after today, let's go to the rankings as they sat last week. Let me pull them up. So here it is. As the rankings sat last week, you had, let me put my camera on right there so y'all can see me too. So the rankings last week sat Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, Texas A&M 3, Alabama, Georgia, Texas Tech, Ole Miss, Oregon, Notre Dame, and Texas in the top 10. I told y'all Texas was getting BTA, belt to ass. I told you that was going to happen. Told you Georgia was going to run them out of the building. And what did Georgia do? Run them out of the building. And so I believe, so all of that Texas Tech for number 1 or number 2, that's out the window. I would actually put Texas Tech at number 3, but I don't believe the committee is going to do that. They may put Georgia at number 3, Texas Tech at number 4, and Texas A&M at 5 after the way that this shook out. They're going to leave Ole Miss in front of Oregon, despite struggling with Florida. Oregon will move up to number 7. And then the question is, will Alabama drop to 8 or will they drop behind Notre Dame at 9? That's what I think that you're going to have. I don't think that there's any way that you're going to have Alabama. Oh, wait, excuse me. Because Oklahoma's actually going to jump up in front of them. So you're probably going to have Oklahoma go to 8 and then Alabama go to 9 or 10 behind Notre Dame. That's what the answer to the test that I think that we're going to get. And you guys, somebody said, why is Texas in the top 25? Because their name is Texas, and they have Arch Manning, and they were in the college football playoff last year. So, the name brands matter. All right, the next game that we got to talk about is Iowa and USC. Now, this game sets up probably game day going to Eugene again, and an epic matchup because USC is finally relevant again. And they are trying to go and possibly knock Oregon out of the college football playoff and trying to establish themselves as a college football playoff contender and a real football team. Well, they're headed up to Eugene. USC has not played well on the road. They got beat up today. They got injured today. But I will say, I challenge USC fans to show up in the rain and create a home field advantage. And they did not. They did not. Yes, some people showed up to the Coliseum, but it's honestly disgusting how laissez-faire, how fair weather USC fans are. Now, you do have some that are very, very committed. You do. But overall, yeah, that's not cool. That is not cool. And now, Jacoby Lane, Makai Lemon. Makai Lemon was spectacular today. Had over 10 catches, well over 100 yards. It felt like he was the reason why they won this football game. And so the question is, who wins that football game? And we'll discuss that this week. But this sets up a showdown. And this is what Lincoln Riley feels like he's been building his program for. And you're going to see what's what next week. But this Iowa game, I could not figure out for the life of me what Iowa was doing in this football game. They were playing Gronowski. They came out chucking the football. They threw the ball way too many times in this game against USC. I couldn't figure out why the hell that they were doing this. Yes, on the first drive, yes, you want to throw them off balance, but they nerfed their own advantage over USC. Gronowski ended up throwing 19 passes when he should have thrown 12. It was pouring down raining. They rushed the ball 33 times. They should have rushed it 50 times. They would have had more extended drives had they stopped trying to throw the damn ball so much with a quarterback who cannot throw the ball. He can't. He missed wide open receivers, guys diving on the ground to catch the ball and getting 2 yards when they should have got 8. It ain't it. But I do have to give Jaden Maivia, excuse me, a whole lot of credit. The kid was spectacular. He threw the ball in a phone booth today. I'm sorry, in a shoebox. He was throwing the ball today in a shoebox. It was incredible. In the rain, I was highly impressed with him. Now, he's also another kid that needs to stay in school. But the NFL is going to be calling for a lot of these guys. And we got so many quarterbacks that should stay in school. And he is one of them. Because this 2027 draft class is going to be spectacular if that happens. And the 2026 class has not shaped out the way it belongs or the way that it should be or the way that we expected it because Nussmeier got benched. He didn't even start today for LSU. Cade Klubnik hasn't had the season that you expected, and a bunch of those other quarterbacks as well. So it is going to be tough sledding trying to get in the NFL draft for this upcoming year. It is going to be tough. Now, the next game, so this USC defense, though, they did get a little bit beat up in this game. Kamari Ramsey got hurt. They had a defensive lineman get hurt. The depth is thin, but this was a huge win. And you saw Lincoln Riley get emotional. This is how you know that the pressure's starting to build up, and he's like, yes, this is such huge. And it was a statement win to actually be able to beat a physical team, regardless of whether it's at home or on the road. So this was a big win for USC, huge win. And, they did a good job. Now the next game up, Oklahoma versus Alabama. I told y'all on the show this week who was going to win this football game. I would have bet my mortgage on this one. And, I don't really bet on sports. Oklahoma was going to beat Alabama. I predicted Alabama to miss the college football playoff, and we are getting closer and closer to that prediction coming true. Everybody told me I was crazy, and then they lost to Florida State, and they were like, you might be on to something. Then they go on a roll. But I knew, and it's not that I believe that Kalen Deboer is a bad coach, because I actually believe the dude is a really good football coach. But I also believe that he has not gotten this team exactly where he wants them at this point in time. And now you got Alabama fans who are calling for his job. He's not getting fired, people. He's not getting fired. And I see y'all in the comments. I will get to y'all comments. You can always, if you can super chat it if you want your comment addressed immediately. But Kalen Deboer is a good football coach. But this Alabama team, I'm going to give you a hint. And the reason why I knew that they were going to win this that Alabama was going to lose this football game. Oklahoma's defense is really good. Really good. And they're good at stopping the run. And what does Alabama do poorly? Alabama runs the ball poorly. They ran the ball today 33 times for 80 yards. That is not going to cut it. That is how many yards per carry is that? That is 2.4 yards per carry. That ain't it. That is not going to get you football. That is not going to get you wins in college football. And so that was going to allow Brent Venables, who's one of the best defensive coordinators in all of college football, to key in on the pass game. That's how I knew the answer to the test. And you might say, George, Oklahoma doesn't run the football very well either. You are 100% right. But whose defense would I then trust more to get stops? Would I then trust John Mateer's legs to be able to make a few plays here and there and for him to do okay in the pass game? Or would I trust him to stop Alabama more? And that's what I did. I don't trust Alabama's defense like that. They did okay today, but they did okay versus an average offense at best. That's what Oklahoma is. But But Xavier Robinson, he tried his best running the football today, 10 for 34. For Alabama, Daniel Hill and Jam Miller, 27 yards and 60 yards. It's not going to cut it. This is the problem that Alabama is going to continuously run into and Kalen Deboer until he can run the ball at a high level. This offensive line, it's either scheme or offensive line, and it takes Kalen Deboer's dude was at Fresno State. He goes to Washington, hits the lotto with having a good roster. The players weren't really transferring out in the portal like that. He gets Michael Penix Jr. and Rome Odunze. They glow up, everything like that, and it works out. And then he goes down to the SEC, and he has to learn how to play SEC ball. Just like when you go to the Big Ten, you got to learn how to play Big Ten ball because you haven't played a lot of the teams that are there. So you don't know their tendencies. He doesn't know how to play against Brent Venables because he hadn't done it. He doesn't know how to, in these stadiums and everything. There's so much that goes into that makes it difficult on newer coaches to win when they change conferences. Just telling you. That's why coaches who've been around a little bit more do sometimes have a little bit more success early. All right, next game up. Boy, oh boy. This is Texas versus Georgia. I told you, belt to ass. That's what was going to happen. Oh, I didn't give y'all the score earlier for a couple games. Oklahoma 23, Alabama 21. Georgia 35, Texas 10. Told you Texas was going to get put in their place. They had no business being ranked number 10 in the nation. They got way too much credit for beating Kentucky on the road and Mississippi State on the road. Those are bad football teams. And yes, the Vanderbilt win was cute, but Vanderbilt's a good, they're good somewhere in between 19 to 14 kind of team. They're not elite. Actually, 19 to 15, really. I shouldn't be in the discussion for the college football playoff, but acknowledgement. You had a good season. The issue with this Texas team is the same issue that Alabama has. They can't run the football. They cannot run the football. And you got to give Arch some credit today. He did miss some throws that would have helped the team a lot. But he finished 27 for 43, 251, touchdown and a pick. You can work with that for considering that he'll be back for next year. You can work with a quarterback there because in the beginning of the season, we weren't even sure that Arch was a serviceable quarterback in terms of being an upper end starting quarterback in college football. And now and then on the other end, you had Gunnar Stockton, who got a running game today, 35 for 128 out of Nate Frazier, Chauncey Bowens. And then, they did a good job. And Gunnar took care of the football except for the one pick. This was a quality win. When your defense is good enough to make people one-dimensional, especially when you can stop the run, you're going to have success. And Georgia now looks like the class of the SEC. Yes, over Texas A&M. And I know that people are going to, I'm telling you what is going to happen this week. The talking heads on ESPN, the talking heads on SEC Network, Paul Feinbaum Show, everything else, they are going to be giving Georgia. Oh, excuse me, Texas A&M. All sorts of credit. Oh, that was a gutsy win. It was a gutsy win over South Carolina. Oh my gosh, the gutsy win. I mean, that just shows. Marcel Reed had his Heisman moment. This was excellent. You got down 30-3 and you showed how bad you can be. If you were playing anybody else except for South Carolina and you fall down like that, you're going to lose. Shane Beamer got way too happy before halftime, hyping up the crowd, getting all excited, came out and played scared. His team did not play to win. They played scared. Just telling you. That's not going to cut it. Next thing is, y'all, oh my Lord, thank you. People who have been watching this show. Yesterday, we were a little bit away from 25,000 subscribers, and y'all came through in the clutch. We passed 25,000 subscribers. I'm trying to figure out exactly what we're going to do for you guys because I got to give something back because y'all have made this happen. Y'all have grown the show. Listen, 25,000 subscribers is like that point where YouTube starts unlocking stuff for you. Apparently, they let you out of the bottom of the basement, and then you've leveled up some. There's more sponsorship stuff available, all sorts of stuff, and it is because of you guys. So I got to figure out how I can, give something to y'all, because this is special stuff, special stuff, and I appreciate it. All right. All right, so we've covered the Texas. So I got a question for y'all, and I'm gonna look in the chat right now. Who do you think give me your top 3 teams in college football? Put them in the chat right now in order, because Ohio State has not been tested, but they've also knocked the doors off of everybody that they faced. And that also leads to a level of concern for me, because this reminds me a little bit of Oregon last year, because Ohio State won their game today 48-10 over UCLA. UCLA didn't Nico didn't play. They were playing with their backup quarterback and everything else. And this was one of my zero threat games. 48-10. Julian Sayin put up he didn't put up a rock star performance because he only threw for 184 yards, but he was 23 for 31. How many touchdowns did he have? 1? Yeah. And, Jeremiah Smith was banged up, only 4 catches today. Carnell Tate didn't play, but Bo Jackson did rush for 15 for 112 and a touchdown. This Ohio State team looks highly impressive at this point in time. But I'm going to tell you, the only thing that scares me about this Ohio State team is the same thing that happened with Oregon last year. There wasn't a whole lot of being tested throughout the season, and then you show up in the playoff and you get kicked in the mouth. Because we don't know how Julian Sayin is going to respond when there's some adversity. We don't know how he's going to respond and how this Ohio State team is going to respond if they're down in the second half. We don't. And you don't want to figure it out the first time in the playoff, because it could go left for you. All right, and that was that Ohio State UCLA game. The next no doubt game was Texas Tech versus UCF. Texas Tech, I believe, is the second best team in college football right now. This feels like the second best team in college football to me right now. And I have watched this team be excellent. I have watched them be excellent. And this team has been, their defense is phenomenal. Rodriguez, the linebacker, has been phenomenal. He got another pick today for his 4th pick of the season. He struck the Heisman pose. I love it, calling it out, because now more people are going to have to talk about it. Because right now it does not appear that there is a player who is leading the Heisman race. Right, I'm a Heisman voter, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, who do I vote for? Julian Sayin? His team is elite. Today he played with a hurt Jeremiah Smith, and Tate was out. Numbers went down dramatically. Marcel Reed, he's been awful at times. Yes, he led a comeback, but okay, cool. Dante Moore, he's been solid all year. It's been really good. Has not stood out where I'm like, oh my God, like this is by far the most outstanding performance of this season. Jeremiah Love, he finally had a really good game against a really good defense. Okay. So Rodriguez might be your Heisman winner, or Fernando Mendoza. There's something there. But this Texas Tech team, they took UCF and put them in a blender. This defense is 100% elite over there at Texas Tech. 48-9. 48-9. They held them 29 for 52 rushing, only 178 passing yards, while Baron Morin and Mitch Griffiths went for 294 yards passing, 27 for 37, and then Texas Tech rushed for 205 yards on 35 carries. This is money well spent, and I know that traditional blue blood programs, like, they're buying a championship, they're buying this, they're buying that. Yes, they are. Everybody has advantages. Alabama has built-in advantages because they're Alabama. Ohio State has built-in advantages because they're a blue blood. Michigan, same thing. So if you're Texas Tech, you got to find a way to find your level the playing field. Same way with Oregon. Level the playing field. And they don't like it, but so what? You got to do what you got to do. Now let me hop in the chat, because there was some USC fans in the chat, and they came with the same tired excuse. The same tired excuse about why the stadium is not full. Oh, there's so much to do in Los Angeles. I live in Los Angeles. Yes, there is a lot to do in Los Angeles, but you know what? Dodgers don't have no problem with getting people to show up. Neither do the Lakers, neither do the Clippers, neither do shows, neither do musicals, none of that. You know why? Because people go and spend their time at places that matters to them the most. It just don't matter as much to the overall USC fan. Yes, there are some people who are super committed, like USC Psycho, who's been to every game for like 20 years. That's dedication. So USC fans, you can miss me. You can hop out of my comments. You can be mad all you want to. Until y'all start filling up the Coliseum on a game in and game out basis, you can miss me with that. Do better. Do better. And stop making excuses. All right, the next game up that we got to talk about. I thought this was a no-doubt game. And this was Georgia Tech versus Boston College. Boston College was 1-9 coming into this game. And Georgia Tech has consistently this season. They are a cat who has 9 lives. They are 9-1 right now. They used up a life against Colorado the first game of the season because they turned the ball over so many times and found a way to win. They kicked a field goal to beat Clemson after being down in that game too. That was another life. They beat Temple. They snuck out of Wake Forest. That's 3 lives. They beat Virginia Tech easily. They got some things going with Duke. No, you didn't lose a life there. Syracuse didn't lose a life. You fought way too hard with NC State. Another life. That's 4 lives gone. Boston College. They should have lost this game today. But Boston College is just, they don't know how to win. They're not a good football team right now. That's why they're 1-9. But the margin for error for Georgia Tech is the smallest in the college football field who is expected to get in. I can't even feel comfortable saying that Georgia Tech is going to win the ACC. I can't even feel comfortable that they're going to beat Pitt next week. But then if they lose to Pitt, they're going to mess around and turn around and beat Georgia. This is just how it goes. Brent Key's doing a great job, but they rely way too much on Haynes King. Think about this. Haynes King, obviously he's a leading passer. He's a quarterback. 1,800 yards, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's also the leading rusher by 240 yards and 8 touchdowns. And by almost 70 carries. That is way too much for one man to shoulder. So, if I'm talking Heisman, I got to put Haynes King and Diego Pavia in there. Because if Diego Pavia gets Vanderbilt to 10 wins, that's a whole nother can of worms that we got to talk about. But I did not expect that at all. That was crazy. Now, I just want y'all to see the way y'all can see this for yourself. Here are the teams that I put on upset alert today. In addition to Georgia, including Texas, Georgia, I told you what was going to happen with that. And then Alabama, Oklahoma. I didn't put Alabama and Oklahoma in this graphic simply because I wanted to talk about that game more on its own. But let's start with this Michigan Northwestern game. I knew Michigan was going to win this game, but originally I had picked Northwestern to win, and then I realized that this game was at Wrigley Field. So then when the game was at Wrigley Field, I was like, Michigan's going to have a little more juice. They're going to find a way to pull it out. They rushed the ball 45 times, 216 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then they actually held Northwestern to 26 carries for 61 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Preston Stone only threw 184 yards. No touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So you're like, and then Bryce Underwood threw for 280 yards. So you're like, Michigan had 500 yards of total offense to only 240 for Northwestern. How did this happen? Well, it was the fact that Michigan lost 3 fumbles and they threw 2 picks. Bryce Underwood threw 2 picks. That's 5 turnovers. 5 turnovers. And you can't manage more than 22 points? I told you Michigan was going to have juice in the game, and that's exactly what happened. This Michigan team, it ain't pretty at all. Sharon Moore, somebody asked me today, they were like, when is Sharon Moore going to get on the hot seat? I was like, he's got Michigan 10-2 with a true freshman quarterback. Ain't no hot seat coming. If he can figure out how to get Bryce Underwood to stop turning the ball over and be about 250 yards a game, this Michigan team is going to be a problem when it comes time for Ohio State. If you had asked me 2 weeks ago, could Michigan beat Ohio State or shock them again? The answer would have been hell no. Not a single solitary chance in hell. But now you're like, they can run the football. They're physical. They can actually stop you on defense. How's this going to work? Telling you. So there could be something there. All right. The next game. So Utah and Baylor. I put Utah on upset alert, and they ended up winning this football game 55-28. Now, the reason why I put them on upset alert is because I thought that on some kind of level that Sawyer Robertson was going to be able to throw the ball a decent amount and that they were going to be able to pile up yards, some rushing, some passing. I was 100% right. They gained 563 yards of offense. Baylor did. And scored 28 points. Problem is, they had 2 interceptions, which is not ideal. And they also allowed Utah to rush for 380 yards. I did not stutter. 380 yards on 43 carries. That is 8.8 yards per carry. Bird Ficklin and Wayshawn Parker just striking it rich. Ficklin, 6 for 166 and 2 tutties. Long of 74. Just it reminded me of a game that I played when I was in college, and we played against Wisconsin when I was at Oregon. I think this was in 2000. And we went out there. Oh, we are holding Michael Bennett in check. Michael Bennett had like 27 carries for like 25 yards. But then he had three carries for like 270. That average is just fine when you do that. Just keep knocking and knocking and knocking. The issue that Utah is going to run into, which what they ran into against Texas Tech and they ran into against BYU, they cannot throw the football at a high level. Devin Dampier is not an elite high level passer, and he struggles passing the football in terms of just being a thrower of the football. It's not working right now. So yeah. But as far as Baylor goes, they're now 5-5, and you should stay alert because this is another job that may come open this year. It's another job. I put Virginia on upset alert only because their quarterback Morris was in concussion protocol. We weren't 100% sure he was going to play when I recorded the video on Tuesday, so we weren't sure. But Virginia came out and they stormed. Morris ended up playing, threw for 316 yards, but he did throw and 2 touchdowns, but he did throw 2 picks. Virginia ran for 224 yards on 42 carries, and they are a threat in the ACC. So, and Duke, Darian Mensah did not throw an interception, but he was at about 50%, and they can't run the football over there at Duke. So they couldn't today against Virginia, and Tony Elliott has found a way to get this team going. Between Chandler Morris and Trell Harris as their wide receiver, and Jamari Taylor, their running back, they had a field day today. And this Virginia team is going to go to the ACC championship, provided that they can win their last game against against Virginia Tech. ACC championship after Tony Elliott being on the hot seat. I love it. And Duke is sitting at 5-5. Manny Diaz is their head coach, and I would expect. And now, it feels on some level wrong to do this, but Darian Mensah is a kid who is, I think now he has 30 touchdowns, 2 interceptions on the season, well over, like at the 3,000 yards. How can we sit here and wonder, and if the $4 million number is true at Duke, or if it's not, whatever it is, if it's a lot of money, there's got to be somebody who is in the national championship conversation who's going to be desperate for that type of help and production. Somebody who's not going to turn the ball over and throw the ball for a lot of yards at a high level. So that is something to watch as well. All right, the next game that we got to go to. This was a game that happened on Friday, and we did not talk about it in the preview, but I wanted to give some love to Dabo Swinney and Clemson, who beat Louisville, who was ranked 20-19. And yeah, Louisville didn't have their main running back, Isaac Brown, who is out. But I wanted to give credit to Dabo Swinney, because how many times have we seen college football teams whose season is, air quote, over, right? Their season is over. They don't have any hope of going to the playoff and everything else, and their teams just quit. And you know whose team did not just quit? Dabo Swinney. Dabo Swinney. So for all of this talk about, is he a good leader? Should he be fired? All this stuff. He's the exact kind of, if he can get his team to not quit when they are 5-5 at this point in time in the season, that's a leader of men. And this is the type of season that turns men into better fathers, better at their jobs they go into, better football players, high character individuals, because they're not quitters. So I got to give that Dabo credit for that, even though we ain't going to spend no time talking about this football game, because we don't need to spend no time talking about this football game, because this team is not going to the college football playoff. And you might be like, well, George, didn't you just reinforce this point? Maybe, but I had to give him credit in the process anyway. All right, next game up. Notre Dame, because Notre Dame has kind of been a lightning rod when it comes to college football playoff talk. People have banged on their schedule, which is absolutely insane. You guys make sure that you like, subscribe, get notifications, and tell a friend about the show. We passed 25,000 subscribers, and it is thanks to you, because the best thing that you guys can do is continue to share the program. I will keep showing up. I got off of CW all day today, and, doing the North Carolina, Wake Forest, studio pregame, postgame, halftime, postgame. Then we had the La Tech, Yeah, the La Tech Washington State game tonight. And I'm still on here with y'all because y'all are here with me. All right, so Notre Dame, Pitt, 35-15. CJ Carr, who is a quarterback, is one of the 15 quarterbacks that I believe that of if you switch out the quarterback at Ohio State with that they would still be 9-0. If you switch Julian Sand out with CJ Carr, they'll still be 9-0. And Notre Dame was playing against Mason Heitzner, who is a young, hot shot quarterback, and they beat him up today. They did. So much so that Eli Holstein ended up coming into the football game. But this was Jeremiah Love's coming out party. That 56-yard run for a touchdown where he hit him with the juke, and then the spin move, it looked like a damn video game. And this is why he is going to be the first back taken in the NFL draft. He is an NFL special running back. He can catch the ball, run the ball, all of those things. And this Notre Dame team is now sitting at 8-2 after beating up Pitt. They got Syracuse and Stanford left. They are going to finish 10-2 and go to the college football playoff. You can write it down, remember it. You can be mad at it or whatever it is that you want. But that's not even what I want to focus on this game for. I want to focus on this game for Pitt's head coach, Pat Narduzzi. Now, I try to be a person who approaches things from a place of love and talking about people the exact same way that I would talk to my own kids and how I want my kids to talk to me. And how I want somebody to talk about my kids when they're analyzing them and all this stuff. Pat Narduzzi, who has been a good head coach, what he did this week and what he said this week was gross. It was disgusting, and it went against every piece of competition that is in my body. Now, my son is in the room here. Caden, if I think that you do something soft, or I think that you do something whack, or I think that you weren't competitive or something, am I going to say it to you? Yes. Okay. So, Pat Narduzzi, I would say it to my own kid, so I'm going to say it to you. What you said this week about, I don't care if Notre Dame wins by 100 points. All we're worried about is the ACC. We got Georgia Tech and Miami. That's why you lost this game, because you started out soft. You told your team that this game didn't even matter. What's up with you, bro? Pat Narduzzi, what is up with you? I can't for the life of me figure out why you would say that. Why that is even in your heart. I don't care if Notre Dame wins this game by 100 points. We're focused on the ACC. What? So basically what you're saying is I'm trying to get into the college football playoff, but it don't really matter because we can't beat none of the teams in there anyway. And in the comments, I see you, Drixmas, and Game Day showed up for that. Man, I'd have canceled the damn bit. Oh, he don't want us there. No way. He don't want us there. He don't deserve us there. Oh, yuck. Oh, God. It that goes against everything in my college football core. It goes against everything that I love. It is competition. It is trying to win. It is trying to be great. It is trying to be special. And I don't understand why you wouldn't want that, Pat Narduzzi. I don't. I don't understand. Somebody in the comments say he has a pre-portal brain. He thinks he needs to take at another tig to show he's a macho man. That was not it. That was not it at all. Oh, yuck. So we still got a few more games to cover. Now, I want to go back to a game that happened on Friday. And this game was Minnesota versus Oregon. Now, I have a whole breakdown of this game on YouTube. So I'm going to cover it briefly because it matters in terms of the national perspective about teams. Oregon took care of business. I think it was 42 to 13. They beat Minnesota up. They tied them up in the run game. They tied them up in the pass game. And it is hard to look around the country and find 4 or 5 teams that you can honestly put ahead of Oregon. Dante Moore, 27 for 30, 306 yards, multiple touchdowns. And you know what he did it with? Evan Stewart out. DeCorian Moore out. Gary Bryant out. They only have 4 scholarship wide receivers that are healthy right now. And you know what he did? 27 for 30 for 300 yards? Come on, man. Come on, man. Step into it. Step into it. Kenyon Sadiq came back, 8 for 96. Jamari Johnson, Sally Apaga, Malik Benson, Jeremiah McClellan. They figured out a way to do it. And the best pass defense in the nation did its thing. Another pedestrian day, 138 yards for Drake Lindsey. A kid, watch out for in the portal because there's going to be people after him. And watch out for his head coach, PJ Fleck, in the portal as well. That's going to be, and on a side note, I wanted to tell you guys, watch Jake Dickert at Wake Forest for some of these job openings. I know he's only been there 1 year, but I would not be surprised if you have Arkansas, Virginia Tech, even if Baylor opens up and some of these other, trying to give him these jobs. Just saying. And and people have questioned this Oregon team. The running game is good. Noah Whittington is running like the rent is due. Jordan Davidson, excellent. Future is bright. De'Aaron Hill, future is bright. You have a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense, and people are wondering if this team can win a national championship. Let's leave Ohio State out for a second. Indiana. Do they look like they can be beat? Yes, there looks like there's a way to beat Indiana. Does Texas A&M look like they can be beat? You saw that today against South Carolina, so imagine if they fall behind against a good football team. And Reed has a blow-up game again, which he probably will. Or, not probably will, but he's capable of. Alabama, they just lost their second game today, so they're vulnerable. Georgia, they lost to Alabama, who lost to Florida State and then lost today, too, to Oklahoma. Oklahoma, they lost to Texas. They got two L's right now. Damn. Notre Dame, they got 2. Everybody is vulnerable, people. The only people that have not run into any adversity yet is Ohio State. And I told y'all earlier, I do have concerns about this Ohio State team, about when they run into adversity. If the first time that they face some adversity is when they get into the college football playoff, boy, Lord help them. It is going to be a problem. And speaking of that, let's go on and talk about Indiana. Because Indiana today, people were ready to talk about Indiana struggling versus Wisconsin. Well, turns out that struggle was not so struggly. Fernando Mendoza, 22 for 24. 299 yards. Surratt was out. So Charlie Becker stepped up for the second week in a row. 5 catches, 108 yards, and a touchdown. It is not Indiana's offense that is the thing that should scare you to death. It is their defense, people. This Indiana defense is elite. They held Wisconsin 30 carries, 70 yards, no touchdowns. Carter Smith, their quarterback, got put in a headlock too. 9 for 15 for 98 yards. This defense is elite. Elite. And the offense is efficient. That's the thing I want you to see. This Indiana offense is not their strength. They play off of efficiency. If you can get them off schedule on first down, you have a chance to beat them. Get them off schedule on first down, you can beat Indiana. That's how to do it. Because if you get them into third and long and you have some good pass rushers, you're going to have success. Oregon has success against them in third and long. That's why if Oregon plays Indiana again, Oregon would probably be favored in the game, and they should win that football game. And you guys, make sure that you guys like, subscribe, get notifications, tell a friend about the show, because we're going to keep growing. We passed 25,000. Thanks to y'all. All right. Oh, I got to give some credit. I got to give some flowers. Hey, Tennessee, good job. Cupcake, good job. You beat New Mexico State. Congratulations. Oh, man, I'm so proud of you, Tennessee. Oh, man, that good old November cupcake. Oh, it's so great. Oh, and speaking of November cupcakes, I want y'all to see this. I want y'all to see this. While the SEC is going to be talking about how great they are, next week is the week that they are going to have their come up. Look at this. Look at this schedule for next week in the SEC. Yeah, you got Arkansas, Texas, cool. You got Tennessee, Florida, that looks good. Oh my God, we got number 3 Texas A&M versus Samford. Not Stanford, Samford. I think that's outside of Birmingham. And then you got Missouri, Oklahoma. Okay, conference game. Georgia, Charlotte. What? Eastern Illinois, Alabama. Mercer, Auburn. Kentucky, Vanderbilt, okay. Coastal Carolina, South Carolina. Western Kentucky, LSU. Look at that. Ain't that something? Oh, while the rest of the country, while Oregon is playing USC. Oh, Ohio State's playing another conference game at Rutgers. BYU's playing Cincinnati. Utah's playing a conference game. Miami's playing a conference game. Georgia Tech is playing a conference game. Michigan's playing a conference. All of these games are possible to lose. While the while Texas A&M, cupcake time with Samford. Come on, man. And then they'll get an artificial boost up the rankings if one of the teams loses in front of them. Good job, SEC. Congratulations. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you. So in the comments, Eastern Illinois got a college football team. Yep. Oh, when the SEC goes to 9 conference games, welcome to the big leagues, buddy. Welcome to the big leagues when y'all go to 9 conference games, because that's going to hurt a little bit. Because look at these standings. Look at these standings after where we are tonight. Let's go to the SEC. You got the SEC here. You got Texas A&M. Mind you, I want you to look at this Texas A&M schedule. They have not played a team. They have not played Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, or that they have not played any of those teams. Any of those teams with numbers in front of them, including Tennessee, they have not played. They've played Missouri, LSU, Kentucky, Florida, Mississippi State. Wait, actually, no, they didn't play Mississippi State, but South Carolina, Auburn, Arkansas. That's what they got. And they want us to believe that that's the number 3 team in the nation. Who have they played? They haven't played the same schedule as Bama. They haven't played the same schedule as Georgia. Stop it already. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Now, let's look at this CFP situation for a second, because this is where things get a little bit tricky. Because Alabama, out of the 4 spot, who's going to replace them is the question. I think it should be Texas Tech. And then Georgia move up to number 3, and Texas A&M fall back to number 5. And then Oregon move up to 6. Ole Miss at 7. That's the way that I would have it. But, you know, they're going to do what they're going to do. Oh, yeah. Good point. And look at Ole Miss's schedule. Look at this doozy. Look at this doozy. Where are the ranked games? They got 1 ranked win over Oklahoma, teams who are currently ranked, because LSU don't count no more. Because if Penn State ain't gonna count for Oregon, LSU don't count for Ole Miss. Just telling you. So, hey man, people don't like to hear the truth in 2025. Yeah. So we'll see. All right. Let's see what other games that we had to cover this week. We still have a couple games in action right now. Let's check to see what we got going on with. That was the TCU game that was still going on. Uh-oh, I didn't mean to do that. So we got TCU and BYU. BYU is dominating that football game right now. Let's look at the box score, because I'm going to turn it on and watch it as soon as we get off. It is 30-13 TCU. Bear Bachmeier, nice job so far. They're bottling up Josh Hoover. BYU's running the football well. They're trying to stay alive in this college football playoff. And the Big 12 is probably going to get 2 teams in. So, hate to be the bearer of bad news if you don't care about them. The ACC, they still had a game going on late. Oh, Florida State won. Okay, Mike Norvell. They beat Virginia Tech with no head coach. Okay, Florida State ran for 237, 3 touchdowns. Yeah, but let's get back to the things that actually matter. But you guys, though. So this upcoming week, we got big games. Well, we have some big games, but the biggest game of all is the Oregon USC game. This is a game that is a fight for the Big Ten and their second playoff spots. And yes, let me go in the comments and see what you guys have to say. Ole Miss got some ref help. Yes, they did, but they weren't gonna win. I mean, DJ Lagway's not playing at a high level right now, and truthfully, whoever Florida's new head coach is going to be, first order of business, you either have to do one of 2 things. You either have to bring in competition for DJ Lagway, or you like a true quarterback competition, or you gotta let him go. Those are your only 2 options, because you cannot guarantee him to start. That guaranteeing anybody a start is 100% wrong. Dan Lanning doesn't do it. Kirby Smart don't do it. None of them don't do it. None of the great coaches do it, and you can't do it. It would be it's a awful way to do things and a bad precedent. Um, so let me see if there's anything else that we need to cover before we get up out of here. You guys, if you guys have anything, drop it in the chat, and I will address it before we get off. Okay, so somebody said, so the Iowa USC game. We'll revisit that for a second because we talked about that early. I couldn't figure out what the hell Iowa was doing. Why was Kirk Ferentz and the offensive coordinator, why were they throwing the ball so much after the first drive? I know they only finished with 19 passing attempts, 30 something, like 33 rushing attempts. But they let USC off the hook. They should have been running the ball at them constantly. They were having success, almost 5 yards a carry. What are you doing? What are you doing? And Gronowski, it's a nice story. It's a cute story. The kid can't throw the football at a high enough level for Iowa to be able to win. I'm sorry, Iowa fans. I know that you like him. I know he's tough. I know he's gritty. And he's a warrior, but there comes a time that you got to be able to produce. It just is. I'm a another comment. I'm a Trojan, so I hope we win, but I also hope that there's a way that we both get in at 10-2. Need the West well represented in the playoffs. I 100% hear you. I do. So here's the separate, like, I'm gonna answer this question and answer this comment twofold. One, as an Oregon alum, I do not want USC to win this football game. I'm gonna tell you this right now. That is bad for recruiting. They get bragging rights. Terrell Thomas, who I see all the time, is gonna be talking trash to me. I don't want no part of that. Okay, that's first part. Second part is, if there is a way, if I knew that USC and Oregon would both get into the college football playoff, if that happened, I would feel a little bit better about it. I would feel a little bit better about it. So yeah. So that's the best way I can put it. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. But we don't always get the things that we like in life. But you guys, though, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your energy. I have been tired, but y'all showed up for me. Y'all showed up in the live stream tonight. Y'all showed up last night. Y'all have gotten us to 25,000 followers, subscribers on YouTube. Thank you guys for being one of us. So when I'm gonna start using the hashtag one of us, or just saying one of us more, because it's Unafraid Show, US, and you guys are one of us. That means the people who love college football, the people who are committed to it, the people who are showing up, because y'all keep showing up, I'll keep showing up, and I thank you for it. Seems last comment I'm gonna get to. Seems like the CFP committee was looking for a way to box Oregon out of the playoff, even if they're 10-2. Oh yes, yes, 100%. But it's gonna be hard to do that now. When the SEC keeps doing their thing, because if Texas A&M had lost today, Lord have mercy, because it would have been an unranked team, it would have been super ugly, super ugly. But yeah, that's where we're at. You guys, love your shows, man. Keep up the great work, man. Listen. I appreciate y'all. I can't even tell you. It almost brings me to tears, because and here's a little quick preview. So I told you guys a couple weeks ago I'm writing a book about my life. I was a kid who stuttered really, really badly. The name of the book is going to be called Stutterbox. Just spit it out already, because that's what people used to tell me. And then it turned out that the thing that I thought was a detriment and that nobody wanted because I stuttered and my voice, and it turns out people like my voice on radio, on TV, and everything else. And I appreciate, man, I can't even tell you, as a kid who couldn't get stuff out, who couldn't communicate, people didn't think was smart, people didn't want to listen to, everything like that, to be on television on the CW, to be having my own radio show, solo radio show on Mad Dog for 4 years, being on FS1 and everything else. What? Man, dreams come true. God is real. And I just don't even know what else to say. But y'all the real MVPs, man. Thank you guys. Keep sharing. Please keep sharing so we can keep growing. And I'm going to figure out what I can do for y'all for the 25,000 subscribers. Something big, because it came up even faster than I thought it was going to come up. And as of right now, literally where we are right now, so I can give you the live up to the second update, we are at 25,020 subscribers. Y'all good night, man. Y'all ain't gonna have me crying on camera. Peace out.